Hi. So today is going to be a very special episode. We have Amber. Amber is a great partner in the fight, a survivor extraordinaire. We've worked with her personally. She's from Utah and she is here. It is currently 10:15 a.m., 9:15 a.m. Utah time, and we're here for it. She chose to get up on her Saturday and talk to us, and we are beyond thrilled. So I'm going to let her in now.
Nailed
So,
it.
how are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing great. Today's been a great day
Awesome.
so far.
That's awesome. And the day just started and it's already great. Like,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
my mom and I we do pottery and we have our first farmers market booth on Tuesday. So we're kind of like setting everything up. It's so exciting.
That is so fun. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're
Great.
having a
Ah,
blast.
that's awesome. Well, I am so glad to have you on. Just thrilled. I mean, it's been a lot of years since, I shouldn't say a lot of years, but it's been a lot of time since, I've been in Utah and just the organization that you worked with and it just all the things, right? But I've stayed in touch with you and I love that, but I love that you're still in the fight, anti-trafficking, all the things. So I wanted to tell you, yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, what is like the landscape, in Utah versus Texas? Like, what are things looking like over there?
Well, I think across the country, we've had a shift into more virtual CSAM. AI is having profound effects on the
Mhm.
trafficking industry, but I-15 is keeping sex, money, drugs very much alive and well in Utah. And the culture
Yeah,
here of mind your own business, don't look at it, don't get involved, is still has um,
yeah,
negative
yeah.
effects on the ones that aren't seen already. But yes, Brooke, we've gone through, it's been a lot. It's been
It's been,
only a short amount of years, right? Like hindsight,
but
but
but a
man,
lot.
it's a lot. So much.
That is to say it lightly. It's a lot. So thank you for that just brief overview. But I just want you to tell everybody, a little bit about yourself, like who you are, what you do, all the things.
Yeah, okay. So, man, I was the perfect candidate for trafficking victim. Just
Mm,
based upon my childhood decisions, choices, ACEs score. Ended up being rescued from trafficking in my early 30s from the Midvale City Police Department here in Utah in 2016. And then, attempted to heal from that, which was
mhm,
incredibly difficult. At the
yeah,
time in Utah, 2016, we still had a felony child prostitution charge, meaning we
mm,
identified a child that was engaging in sex work, right? And we were
mhm,
charging them criminally.
mm.
So we weren't identifying them as trafficking victims. So
Make
that
it
was
make
just
sense.
right,
Yeah.
right. 10 years ago, like we're just now, like, I don't know. But so there still isn't trafficking survivor specific care in this state, still to this day. So I failed hard at surviving that
Mhm,
um, and healing from that. So
mhm,
I ended up going to prison
mm,
and really kind of imploded on myself there. And this is where my revenge started to take root. I was removed enough from society that I was actually able to heal a little bit. I wasn't using drugs in prison, but I got really angry in there and I wanted my revenge. I knew I was a victim of crimes, pretty severe abuse and violence, but I also was confused on accountability and my part and how have I been identified as a victim over and over and over again in my life? Like a
mhm,
victim of circumstance over and over and over again. Um, but then I got out and really focused on my mental health and
mm,
sobriety and knew that I had to get in this fight somehow because I
yeah.
wasn't going to let it go. I was not gonna
Right.
let it go. Like these gang members, these like this culture, like all of this, like we had some scores to settle, right? Like I'm a
I
Taurus, you know,
love
I wasn't
I
gonna let it
love that
go.
you're saying that. I love that because I'm the same way. I'm not going to let it go. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Like I can't. So,
Yeah, someone's gonna answer for this. So
yeah.
I took my part, I took accountability for my part, how I could change my life going forward so I'd never be identified as a victim ever again. Made those changes in my life, but then, it was time to settle the score. So I went back to school for computer science and information systems. I knew that this is kind of the arena in which it was going to be heading, starting to do some training on like ethical hacking and databasing and things of this nature. And then I just kind of replayed the list in my head over and over and over of who was of highest importance to me to take down
Yeah.
and got to work on that. And I simply just kind of walked into a police department, um, both the one that rescued me and gang task force, because I was watching a lot of these officers make a lot of mistakes and like kind of spinning their wheels, and they always seemed to like just be behind the curve just a little bit. And I
Mhm.
just walked in there and I was like, everybody take your seats. Like I need to just tell you about
Yeah.
yourselves, first of all, and you need to have accurate information. Like, let me tell you some things, right? And that's how that relationship started. Was I had enough audacity to just kind of one tell the truth and my truth, and
Mm.
like how can I bring these people down? Because it's not gonna be with more drugs, sex, and violence. Like that's not gonna ever fix the situation. I needed law
Mhm.
enforcement support, and I needed good cops in this fight with me.
Mhm.
So I began that journey, and that's kind of taken me to a lot of interesting places, but has landed me into something that I got my revenge. I got it, and
Yeah.
now I'm heavily just invested into being the best advocate that survivors can have access to, however they choose to find me, and meeting them right where they're at. Like, what do the needs look like for you specifically? And obviously, in my heart, my goal is to always get a prosecution, get someone locked up, and blast
Mhm.
their face all over the internet. That's what I
Yeah.
like to do in my free time.
Of
But
course.
some survivors don't necessarily want that, and
Mhm.
and that means we're focusing on how to exit them long term, because we can exit survivors time after time after time, and unless we are reintegrating them back into society the way that they need to, everyone's going to be a little bit different, then we're failing them by even exiting them. Like they just get in more trouble, they fall further down the system, they lose trust in providers and
Yeah.
caregivers, and they lose a little bit of hope each time. So being
Right.
really strategic about exit structures, and hopefully getting some prosecutions, or at least enough data that we can forward on to law enforcement so we can start working better on these databases.
Yeah. I read a statistic a couple of months ago that said on average, um, not just in anti-trafficking, but sexual crime of really any kind, that it takes about 7 touches from a safe person. Gosh, touches is the bad word, but like 7 encounters with a safe person, a safe environment before they're able to, it hooks, it sticks, and they're able to identify, hey, I need to get away from this.
Yeah, it's similar to domestic violence, and
Hmm.
that's
Very
because
much
there's
so.
similar grooming techniques and violence techniques. It's the same type of psychological behavior that really, really works on a human psyche, right? And it can be
Yeah.
duplicated over hundreds and maybe even thousands of years, right? That people
Mhm.
have been experiencing this stuff, but in 140 different languages as well. So it's
Right.
it's just they use that technique because it works. So yeah, it's and not over promising either when we do have that encounter. Like you better make sure that
Yeah.
whatever the need is at the moment, that you're able to follow through with that long term, not just in the moment. Like you better be able to follow through with that for the next several years.
I love that. Can you just move to Texas and work with my organization and we can just do this together? That is a huge thing that I always say. I worked in healthcare for a lot of years, and continuity of care is so important. And I've taken that mindset into, exits and rescues and things like that, because if they need an exit, you can't just say, okay, well, here's a hotel for a few days. You're going to be safe. I'm so glad we got to meet. Have a good time. No, if you say that you're going to be able to provide them housing, for the love of God, provide that housing, provide that support. If that's medical, therapy, whatever it is, but also keep in contact, follow up with them, because, Amber, healing is not linear. That it's not. And I think far too often, we do the good deed and we're excited and we get them out of the bad situation, but really you can inadvertently replace them back in another bad situation because they realize, oh, this wasn't a trusted person. This isn't anybody that could actually back up what they promised. Does that make sense? Like,
Correct. Yeah.
and I
Then they'll
see it.
never forget that. They will never
Yeah,
forget it. This is something that will stick with them, and it becomes more dangerous for them to exit than to stay. And that's never especially with adult
absolutely.
survivors. We don't want them to
Absolutely.
be in that situation. Um,
You're absolutely right.
this years and years of surviving, right? And um, of course we're gonna like crash out. Trauma responses are gonna come, and we're gonna do a couple of things. We're gonna fight or flight, like
Yep.
someone needs to be there for survivors during that period and not be scared of them, not turn their backs on them, not take it personal. There's so many things, right? And this is
Mhm.
just to exit. Then we're talking about to get the prosecution,
Oh,
right? We're
yeah.
taking them back down to ground zero. Like, okay, we're going to get you healing and feeling better, and then we're going to take you back down to zero.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had a survivor a few weeks ago, and she had, oh my gosh, Amber, she'd done all the work, all of the hard work, the therapy, everything. And she had to testify. And it's like, you can do this. You have to do this. This is going to be amazing. But it does. It brings them right back to ground zero. It's like, hey, why don't we revisit every horrible thing that's happened to you? It's, there's got to be a better way.
And there's not, right? Like, no
Yeah.
victim, no case. And
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
country, you have the right to confront your accusers. But truly, it is taking them back down to ground zero and walking through all the shame and guilt, right? Because those defense attorneys are brutal. They are brutal,
Yeah.
and they will say that you were complying, and that, they will discredit everything, and you'll start to second guess yourself. And um,
And they'll
it's
criminalize
almost,
you. They'll criminalize you. Oh, so you were you were a prostitute, and they'll label you that in court, even if you've spent so much time overcoming those labels and learning about what happened to you. And it's almost like I wish I could get a bunch of defense attorneys in the room and be like, y'all don't even know what you're talking about. Like,
correct.
you're not even educated on the topic to be here and saying
That's
those
that's
things.
the only defense, right? Is to say that you liked
Yeah.
it, you wanted to do it, that it was your idea, that that's the only defense. So that's what's going to come every single time. A great example of this, and this is the case that actually, I mean, it just shattered me. I've been kind of out of monster hunting for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actively on North Temple taking intel and data, and I haven't been for about a year. And that is because, while we're talking about this subject, that is because there was another great, powerful survivor here in Utah, adult survivor, and we had very similar stories, and we became extremely close, right? We did like this survivor bond thing and had each other's backs, and was there for each other's children, and was there for each other's during the bad nights and nightmares, all the things that kind of isolate you from society that a lot of people
Yeah.
will never understand.
Yeah.
Um, she worked for OUR.
Okay.
She had been on the Dr. Oz show and had done such incredible, powerful advocacy in the state. Um, her name was Kayla Bettles, and
Yeah.
she did go for a prosecution on her trafficker. And this was after she had healed and just started doing advocacy work, and life was going really good for her. She had her own place and, had this nice car, and life was looking really. For her. Went for her prosecution out of Oregon and Washington. And it was a year and a half of investigative work with her detective out there, Seattle Police Department, going over trying to prove the trafficking, going over text messages and violence and hospital stays and injuries, and doing her best to prove what she had gone through. And she did. And she got the prosecution, and he did less than 6 months in jail and came out and was still, gang banging and selling drugs, and then had a gun. And now she's just terrified, right? She's got the
Yeah.
prosecution. Now he's pissed, and now she's terrified. And the nightmares kick back up, and some of these brutal trauma responses that survivors go through, they're absolutely brutal. They're 100% physical. It's like a hostage taking in your own body. And she reverted back to using drugs to kind of ease some of those symptoms. And she lost her life, was left dead in a hotel room by another low-level pimp in one of these high crime areas in Midvale. And I desperately hunted this man.
Yeah.
It was I'd go to work during the day, take care of things at home, and then at night he was all mine. I was able to identify him out of a picture of someone who was leaving the hotel room. What it looks like is he administered naloxone to her and just left her for dead. And in the state of Utah, that's a felony. You're supposed to call 911.
Yeah.
But of course it felt like, for me, like he murdered her.
Yeah.
Like he took advantage of her, he murdered her, he left her for dead in a hotel room. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I was going for, right? Just trying to hunt him down, destroying some relationships with law enforcement, right? I didn't feel like they were handling it well. This was hitting really close to home. I wanted stellar performance out of the same department that had rescued me, and that's not what I got.
Yeah.
I got treated pretty poorly, whether they knew who I was or wasn't. I will never forgive them for the way they
Yeah.
treated me during that case.
Yeah.
They should have known better. They should have learned their lesson from my rescue 10 years ago. I held them to a different standard. They missed the mark. And finally was able to get him tracked down. I worked really, really hard on this. And ultimately, he got charged with a misdemeanor. And it didn't end there, right? I'm fighting in court he's got other charges, more serious charges, right? Felonies for stealing bikes and selling drugs, and a misdemeanor. The lowest crime that he had on his books was for my friend's life, out of the same department that had rescued me and treated me like crap on the bottom of their boots again. And I was fighting in court with her detective. It was him and I, his sentencing, right? Writing letters, victim impact statements, just holding the court accountable to this misdemeanor crime. And the most I could get was, he did get a consecutive charge for it and was sent to prison, but not on that charge. You can't really go to prison on a misdemeanor charge, but he did get 365 days for that. He's sitting in the Utah State Prison right now, probably doing the same crap he's been doing, right? Nothing's changed in his life, but that shattered me. To be 10 years into this fight in Utah and watch a survivor get treated like she was nothing again, it felt like so discouraging for me. Kayla was just put in a stigma once again, right? And all the work that she had done in the state just went right out the window. She was just a drug user, prostitute in high crime area in Midvale, and wasn't seen as a human being. And I'll never forgive Midvale City Police Department for that. And I feel like I'm owed an apology, and they definitely haven't given it to me. So I've been taking it out on good old Justin Howard. So he's sitting in the prison, and I'm like, this isn't over. So,
Yeah, I have so much I could say. They let you down, and to be fair, this is another trauma for you. Like, this is as if you didn't already have compounded trauma. Let's add another layer. And the people that we should trust the most, law enforcement, I mean, this is just facts. This is so far beyond opinion at this point. This is factual data. So I with our case with Natalie, I have been told by law enforcement I have every reason to hate them and never trust them. And I can tell you for a long time I did.
yeah.
I I didn't trust them. There are still, there's still a level of distrust, but in the education and in the advocacy work, we've worked some operations and stuff like that with law enforcement. And I think it's when you get the good ones, you have to educate them. But
That's it.
how many times have you educated and they're like, oh my gosh, and their mind is just blown and they feel awful and they like want to move forward, but it's their direct counterparts that are the same way. And they're like, a hoe is a hoe is a hoe every day. And it's hard, and they're looking at your crime and not who you are. And yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Culture is important. And the same thing
Culture is
happened with
important.
me. Same
Yeah,
thing happened with me when Midvale rescued me. I almost lost my life because of it. And
yeah,
and that was, I mean, for multiple reasons. And I remember them apologizing and doing everything they could to keep me safe while they tracked down this dude. And they were like, we're never going to make these mistakes again. And I remember being like, okay, I'm going to forgive you as long as like we can work together and you're going to help me. And when I call, you're going to answer my call, because I'm not going to call you unless it's important, right? Like,
yeah,
in this fight as an advocate, when I call you, you better respond, right? And that
yeah,
was the working relationship for a really long time. And then all hell broke loose, right? And it looked like a lot of good cops had left Midvale City Police Department and took their culture with them. And all that was left was the hoe is a hoe is a hoe, right? And
yep,
that's a drug user, that's a junkie, that's a,
yep,
you know, and that's
yep,
all that was left. And then they're back down at
yep,
ground zero 10 years later, and it's in one of the most high crime areas, right? Other than North Temple, in one of the
yeah.
most high crime areas in Utah. We're back at ground zero. And I just was so disgusted by it that I had to tap out for a minute. I also,
Absolutely. You
yeah.
become jaded and you become almost like, how effective can I be? Because I'm so angry that like you have all the data and the facts and the training and the experience, and no one's listening to you, and you see them doing the very opposite. And
It's enough to
it's
drive you. Yeah, it's enough to drive you crazy. And I'm already kind of
yeah,
crazy. So I'm like, you guys don't want this. And I don't want this. Nobody wants this. Like,
yeah,
you don't want to really see me crash out. So I retreated. I mean, we have some similar crossover with some dealing with some grotesque individuals in this arena, and
yeah,
it was enough for me that now I'm in a space where it's like, okay, God, like I'm maxed out and I still want to do this work, but you're going to have to bring it to my door,
mhm,
right? So I
mhm,
still make a presence on social media, and you find me in the comments, right? Like any
yeah,
articles that drop about sexual predators, I'm going to be in the comments, and that's typically
yeah.
for survivors so they know that they're not alone. And sometimes they'll reach out via social media and like, "Hey,
Oh yeah,
and
oh yeah,
this is where I can be an advocate and make sure that, like I'm still engaging with the survivor community and victims of sexual violence, but not so much in the mix that I am jeopardizing my own mental health, or I feel really unseen right now here in Utah, like
mhm,
really unseen, unheard. I feel like politics, and old culture just kind of like took back over, and
yeah.
I'm just I'm a girl. I'm just a girl. I'm
I'm
just a
just a
girl
girl.
with a
Yeah.
little bit of audacity and like and
Well,
um
I, you're yes, 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 and yes. I mean, so I number one, I feel like God brings us through, these valleys, and right now you feel unseen and you feel like
why am I doing this? Like, what good am I serving? And I think that God brings us through those periods because that's when he's working on other things. And I have hope and faith and all the good things. And I know that he is working, and you know that.
I do.
But sometimes when you feel like you're unseen, it's because he's working on some hearts. He's working on things that are far bigger than we could ever understand. But one thing I think you also should remember, especially regarding sweet Kayla, is justice is his. We can chase justice all day long. Uh, Law enforcement can drop the ball. The courts can do essentially whatever they want to do. But in the end, justice is the Lord's. And he sees everything. You don't have to bring a case to him. You don't have to prove you were hurt. You don't have to prove you were trafficked. You don't have to prove anything. He already knows. And what happened with her in that hotel room, he was with her the entire time and he
I
saw
believe
it.
that. Yeah.
And I have no doubt that he welcomed her and he did not call her a hoe. He said, you're my child. Like, come, come to me. And so justice is his, right? Like, we're his children. He's not gonna, as hard as I fight for my daughter, I can't imagine how hard God fought for my daughter. So it's not over.
Yeah.
And I think right now you might be in a valley. You might be in
Yeah.
a season where you're, but maybe you're meant to kind of regroup. Because if you're anything like me, if I don't regroup on my own, God will put me in situations where I'm forced to regroup, and it sucks. But I'm like, okay, fine. I will regroup my thoughts. I will redo things, but it's a good thing.
I know I have the biggest God in my life. And I
Yeah,
know that we learn to rest, not quit, right? And I know that
yeah.
I'm in my resting period because something is coming, whether, I know that I'm an advocate, but I know that I'm more than just that too. And
Oh
opening
my
my
gosh,
my
yes.
world to and it was so much of my identity. It was so much
Yeah,
of my identity
yeah,
and my passion, and revenge kept me alive for a really long time, right?
yeah.
Because I had like that score had to be settled. I wasn't going to let that go. But
I am.
what door
Are we the same person? I am in your camp. I mean, I've got one state that totally, had justice for Natalie's case, but like in our own state, she still 4 years later, there is not justice. Her trafficker, the main trafficker with her, he's still out in oblivion doing this again. I get it. There is a score to
Yeah.
settle.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is. There is. If you want to come to Texas and,
I'm
help, we
already
can
I'm already getting excited. Like just
we can hunt
like
him. Yeah.
take me off my leash already.
I've yeah, I've got a private investigator we used to work with who literally said he's just waiting for him to pop up again. So it's gonna be fine.
Yes.
But I want to go back to what you said about monster hunting. I mean, do we need to have a hunting party? What do we need to do? So I know that sounds terrible to my viewers, hunting humans, but sometimes these are not humans. These
Mhm.
are evil to me. And I don't claim to be like
Subhumans.
yeah, I don't claim to be like a criminal expert, okay, by any stretch of the imagination. But I can tell you that the men, the boys, the lowest of the low, these are dangerous criminals. These are not just like a pimp, let's just say, like in your head. These are not just these guys that feel like they're awesome and no. There's what, 5 different types of pimps, and most of them are either Romeo pimps or gorilla pimps, and equally as bad. They do not value these women. Um, this is generations, a lot of times in their life, this is generations of exploitation, right? And it doesn't just stop with
women, and oh, I can sell her and make this much money. This goes into children. This goes into online marketing. This can go into international, almost business models, Amber, right? Like this is the lowest of the low, but sometimes the smartest of the smart.
Yeah, I mean, when you're sitting there thinking like she's too old to be trafficked now, so now we're gonna go like when you're actively selling a child online knowing that they are 10, 15 years away from having a fully formed brain, and you're doing it to just make money, and you'll do it with violence, coercion, like and yes, monster, but also the individual who's purchasing sexual
Let's not
encounters with the
forget the
child.
buyers. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I think we're always about, the pimps, and we like to go after them, and to a degree they just need Jesus. Like there is nothing that's going to save them. Prison ain't going to do it. Law enforcement ain't going to do it. But the men that buy sex, let's go there.
Hmm. Yeah, these are
So let me
disgusting
tell you,
individuals, shattered
I
human
had,
beings.
yeah, when I first started my organization, Ashland, I was really searching for like hashtags and like what, like slogans and just things. And one of the things I wanted was only losers buy sex. And someone said to me, you don't want to do that. You don't want to isolate people. As Christians, we're called to love everybody. Okay, fine.
No,
But
no.
how bad do you have it when you're like, I have some money, I'm going to go buy sex.
And
Like
at what point as a society are we going to stand up and say, no, we're not going to tolerate this. Like, yes, we love people and we want people to change, but data shows sex offenders don't change. And they're going to continue to perpetrate onto our most vulnerable populations. So who's going to
yes.
start standing up for them?
Yes,
In
and
the name of
truthfully,
Jesus.
yeah,
Yes.
thank you. And a lot of times when they're in, I actually read this statistic too. When they go to jail, prison, you name it. So they're locked up. That exploitation mindset goes to prison too. And it's not, it could be sexual in nature or not sexual in nature, but there's always an exchange for something else. And there's always that element of taking advantage of someone. And sadly, okay, like for pimps as a whole, for them, it likely has happened to them sometime in their life too. So I believe that somewhere way down, they're part of the victim chain. But you go into buyers and you think, why are why are you doing this? And I think some of it comes from the old adage of like in the movies, these girls are just walking on the street, but they are victims of crime. If you really want to break it down, they're victims of crime. um it's ridiculous. And one thing that really bothered me was when my own daughter was missing, and I was worried that they were gonna like really hurt her. I mean, they did, but like really like physically like beat her up or something. And they said, no, like probably not. And I said, why wouldn't they? She's a liability. This is all in the media. And they said, because she's young and she looks young. And it was her braces that made her valuable because she looked younger. And I was told that buyers, so to speak, they will buy her because of how young she looks. But if she's beat up, they have a problem with that. That brings it
They,
too close to home. Like,
they
why
want
is
to be
she
the
hurt?
ones to beat her up. They don't want her pre-beat up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Porn consumption has done a number on this country, right? Like
Yes.
normalizing
Yes.
porn, sexual violence in porn. When you have an individual who is who's paying hundreds of dollars to have sex with a child,
Mm.
and you send them to prison, This is the system that we sit in. You're dealing with an extreme sex addiction that has completely rewired their brains, right? Like they don't think like you. They don't consume regular information like you.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
regular stimulation in society, not like you. Like you cannot compare them, right? But then they get out into society, right? And you have primary mental health facilities, primary substance abuse facilities, people with mental health, um, Department of Health and Human Services contracts,
Yeah.
licensures cannot accept sex offenders.
Yeah.
There isn't treatment for them. There isn't specialized treatments for them because really nothing works. And what they learn from that experience is typically to go for a younger aged victim next time. One that's less, the victim needs to be more vulnerable, less likely to talk, less ability to talk. Sometimes they go for more special needs
Yeah.
individuals.
hmm
Their victims become more vulnerable because
Because
they're
as
less
your
likely to
tolerance
testify.
grows, what you want more. Like at
Yeah.
one point,
And you have
this
no
was
access to
sufficient.
treatment for it.
Right.
It's not even
Absolutely.
acknowledged. It's not even acknowledged in the DSM. Like insurance won't even cover it
Yeah.
because it's not primary sex addiction's not in the DSM. So we're not treating them. We're just hibernating this horrible issue, making it worse by having prison rules and concepts, and then putting them out on the street and calling it probation. And they just
Yeah.
become smarter. They just become smarter at their crimes, and that means more vulnerable victims than their last time.
And I will say, I can't sit here and say like they're beyond help. I do believe that they can be helped and they can turn from their sin. I do believe that, but there's something in there that's different. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not like you and I. And so I think it's hard
Yes.
for us to put a label on it because we're not like that. Like
It's really
children are
hard.
precious. People are
You can't
precious.
even your mind can't even go there, right? Like
Yeah.
I work in primary mental health and primary substance abuse in the state of Utah. And you'll have people who can be cracked out of their minds for days on end and they never want to have sex with a child. You
Absolutely.
you can have people
Yes.
who are shooting up meth on the street, gangbanging, doing all the things, and never want to have sex with a child. Nothing will ever make them want to rape a child, right? Like it
Right.
is something is broken, but we
Something
don't
is,
need-
yeah.
we don't have access to treatment to even give them care, and we definitely don't want. I mean, I get it. There's a place for God and His healing, but I don't want sex offenders rolling up into my church.
No, 100%. So
No.
that kind of reminded me when we were in Utah. So the first time we were in Utah, Natalie had run from a residential treatment center, and we were looking everywhere for her all through Layton. And then, she was found in Salt Lake City. She was gone, I think, another like 5 or 6 days, but that's a story for another day. Ugh,
I
yeah.
remember these calls with you, Brooke,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I remember the fire. I remember the fire in you, and I just knew that I was like, "This is a girl. This is a woman I want in my life forever." Like nothing is going to take her out. Nobody, not one thing you're gonna say is gonna break this woman, and nothing is gonna stop this fire. And I just,
Yeah.
I recognized that same. There was a piece of that. I was like, this woman.
Well,
I
thank
would
you.
absolutely go to war with her for her. Like this is
Oh, thank
genuine.
you. Well, I remember talking to the police in Salt Lake City specifically, and I said because they have a very large homeless population, and there is a lot of drugs, and there's that whole like encampment there. It's like a big thing there,
It's like Skid
and
Row.
yeah, and
And it's
I
right here
was
by the temple.
yeah, exactly, and I was scared, and because this was maybe a little over a year, maybe under a year, like from when she was trafficked the very, very first time. And so this wasn't necessarily trafficking. This was she was in a residential treatment center and she was triggered and she ran. And we were trying to get to her before she could be trafficked again. Does that make sense? And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, all of the homeless people, like I was terrified. I was like we have to get her now. She is very, very vulnerable. All the things. And the police told me most of these homeless people are not a problem. And most of these people in these tents that are using drugs are like not a problem. They said, in fact, they are some of the most resourceful people. Like when police are looking for someone, they're like, oh, yeah,
Especially children.
we
Nobody
saw
wants
him
to
the
see
other
kids
day.
out there.
It,
Yeah.
it really is like a community. And I know that might sound weird to some, but I gained a whole new perspective of it. They were like, use them, go talk to them. They will tell you anything you want to know, even the ones that
Nobody
are
wants
cracked
to
out of their
see
mind.
nobody wants to see anybody's kids out there. Like,
Absolutely. And so it became this new kind of concept, but they told me, oh, these aren't the people we like, they're resources for us, but they said the
yeah.
people that are dangerous are the people that you don't see.
Yeah.
The people that are really doing the bad stuff, they're not just hanging out where we can get them. They're actually very hard to get. They're very hidden. And it just kind of furthered my belief that, you know, evil thrives in silence and in quiet
And in money,
and
right?
in money.
They're
Yeah.
they're they're able to hide from society and not be. It's ironic that people are like, yeah, it's like the scary looking. No, no, no. They have a
No.
sex brings in a lot of money, and they have a lot of money to hide and make themselves look like normal human beings driving nice cars and nice apartments, and like
Yeah.
can move quickly, like moving around quickly. You're not going to find them in the same place doing the
Right.
same thing
They're
over and
not
over and
just
over
hanging
again.
out being the scary guy under the bridge. And you know what I mean? You have to follow the money, and these people don't have money, but you know what? They have hope. They love their life. Like they're living their best life.
Yeah.
But it's the people that you can't see. Those are the ones you have to worry about.
Those homeless individuals are the same. They're the same population that's being victimized by the same people. So like we
Exactly.
kind of we kind of
Exactly.
have that in common. Like
I, exactly. And they can end up being some of the most helpful, but you know, it just it blows your mind, just all the stereotypes out there. And it's like, what if we as a society, not just as women or men, like what if we as a society could take like a different look at people and say, you know, like you've gone through something, like you know, recognizing if this is a survivor of something really awful or if this is truly a criminal. Because I mean, I'm all for the decriminalization of
and
prostitution.
what if it's both? Like is that going to be okay with people? Like what if two things can be true at the same time? What if they can be a criminal and doing criminal behavior but also a victim of a crime? Like
Absolutely.
this is where people still get kind of hung up on this, like, well, if you weren't there, maybe you wouldn't have gotten raped, or if you weren't doing drugs, like, and maybe that's true, but what I know is not all drug addicts rape people or want to have sex with children. Like
Right.
this, there's
Right.
there's a line in the sand.
Yeah. I mean, let's not throw all drug addicts in the same bucket. I mean, sometimes they're just using to escape their own demons, like their own things.
Yeah.
They're not going to go rape your kid. They're just like needing some heroin.
They
I
just
mean,
want
I
to be
know.
left alone. They want to go to
Yeah.
sleep. You know what I mean? They just want to go to
Right.
sleep. That's it.
Truly, truly. So, you know, we have a victim advocate that, excuse me, a survivor advocate that works with us. Her name's Whitney. She's one of my best friends. She's amazing. But she has educated me and so many others on this entire topic. And she was talking to me about buyers at one point, and she was like, it's not like the scary men, right? This is teachers, coaches, politicians, um,
Mhm.
cops.
Yep. Yep.
This isn't always some straggly guy off the street that's like a creeper. This is people you've seen in the news, you know, city leaders.
Honestly, and how I can tell people to like, and this may be extremely shaming for some people to hear, but here's the truth.
Say
How
it.
you want to identify a dangerous sexual predator is by their Pornhub categories. Like if they're engaging in porn and how much porn and what they're watching, that's going to be like if it includes violence, stepsister, like uh, inappropriate, if we're talking about
Young.
inappropriate where
Yeah.
like it's okay only in porn. No, you bingo, like target acquired. Okay, this
Yeah.
person has an inappropriate sex addiction. They are going to be likely going to perpetrate if it doesn't get curbed
Right.
in some way or another, right?
Yep. Yep. And there's a whole, a whole lot of people that say, oh, porn is innocent.
Oh
It's
gosh.
so damaging.
I don't
It's
want to hear it.
so
Yeah, I don't want
so
to hear that.
damaging.
It's ignorant. It's the most ignorant thing that people can say. And it honestly sounds like something a sex addict would say. So, like, sorry, not sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where porn has become so inappropriate that I don't think there's appropriate porn and inappropriate porn.
Well, and I go so far as to say porn is actually another level of exploitation. It really is. You're still buying sex, or
Yeah.
you may get it for free, I guess, if it's, I don't, isn't it like you can't access Pornhub anymore or
And
something?
it's,
I don't
well, I
know.
mean, in some states, but there's hundreds of others, and that's not even that. Like in response to that, now we have OnlyFans, right? And we're normalized that where
Yeah.
we're empowering women to. No, what you're doing is feeding perpetrators. Like you're feeding demons
Yeah.
through the computer. Like stop,
Mhm.
stop. Like you're not
Right.
empowered. This is not an empowering. Like I'm over it. Like there was some point in my advocacy work where I was like, I support women who are doing like sex work by choice. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. It's gotten too jaded. The lines are too gray, and people are getting hurt, and the programming is just getting more and more and more disgusting. That even just 10 years into this work, I'm like mortified, mortified.
Yeah.
It's a no. It's a no. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Like porn is off the table. No, OnlyFans off the table. No, do better. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's
No.
I'm over
I'm
it.
sorry
Yeah,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm done, done, done.
So,
There was a minute there where I was trying to be very supportive of this, and like sometimes women, and I get it. Sometimes women like need to feed their children. This has been a thing for thousands and thousands of years for women, right? Like this has been like a way to like control do these all these things, but now we're talking about women who do it for lip injections and for Louis Vuittons, and like girl, you're gross, stop. Yeah,
no, we don't want to
stop.
see your feet. And no, we don't.
No,
Yeah.
do better, do better. Like no,
Do
no.
better. So
Yeah.
maybe that should be my hashtag. Do better,
Yeah.
people. Do better.
Yeah.
So where are we now? What are you doing? Are you going to go back to monster hunting? Are you going to what are your plans?
This is my deal that I made with God, and it's because I had to tap out for a bit. Is if you bring it to my door, I will jump in. But I'm not going out looking for it. And so
Okay.
far, it hasn't. There's been very little that's been brought to my door. I was instigating a lot of this monster hunting. I was like trying to control a lot of it. But there have been identified victims that are already looking into getting prosecutions based upon like probable cause affidavits that are released on the internet by news outlets. I will
Mhm.
comment on these, and survivors will come to me, and mainly they just need support or court advocate or to
Right.
try to understand a little bit about what's going on with their brain and why they
Mhm.
either miss their abuser or feel like they want their abuser back, or this seems to be the most
Mhm. It
commonality.
is. It is. Yeah.
But for the most part, I still have a couple of like pretty big court hearings coming up, that board of pardons hearings that are coming up, that really I need to be prepared for emotionally and spiritually, you know, to prepare for what's about to happen. And I really think that God is like kind of cleaned my slate for this.
Mhm.
I have felt a lot more peace in my life since not out on North Temple doing, crazy in
Yeah.
the middle of the
Yeah.
night stuff. I've made
Yeah.
room for, love in my life, and that has been the first time since the years while I was being trafficked. It's been a really long time. So I
Yeah.
don't know what God has in store for me,
That's
but
right.
I do know that I've got some mile markers coming up for me personally, and cases that affect me personally coming up that I need to have the stamina for, and we'll see what happens, girl. We'll see what happens and what path I take. I do still work full time in substance abuse and mental health.
Love
And
that.
there's there seems to be some major crossover with those clients. Like it seems like sex trafficking is so intense and the addictions are so intense that they're almost merging, you know,
Yeah.
especially with adult victims. It's
Well, and I think, at least in my work, I have found that identifying with someone and saying, like, yeah, you're being trafficked, they don't even realize until you're able to tell them the markers and, is this happening? Is this happening? Okay, yeah, you were trafficked, or you're actually,
well, and
they
then they
never
think
realize.
they deserve it. They think they deserved
They
it
do.
and that they
Yeah.
asked for
Well,
it
I wanted to be here. I
yeah.
wanted to do
And
that. Yeah.
and in those moments their goal, right, is like I want to get off fentanyl. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, you know, and let's do
Yeah.
that. Like that definitely needs to be done in order for you
Yeah.
to heal from this all of this like underbelly of society type coming up for air. Like let's just take what you can mentally prepare for right now and that's a fentanyl addiction, a meth addiction. I want to get my kids back or I got to get through the court system on my own charges
Yeah. Yeah.
before we can circle back around on, this stuff. And sometimes that's years down the road, and sometimes it's not at all. And sometimes they're like, yeah, I want to talk to someone. And I still have very, trusted contacts, but I just shift them right over the captain, like, or right over to deputy agents at
Yeah.
HSI. Like I'm not really like in the mix too much like I used to
Yeah.
be. I'm just like, I have a trusted law enforcement agent who's going to treat you really, really well. And
Good.
not talk to you about anything else that's happening in your life other than this specific, like we're not gonna try to justify the why. We just
Right.
want to look at the facts. And so that's what I've been doing for the past year, right? Is I've cut off all my other like I've even told officers that reach out, like, hey, I was wondering if you can get some information about so blah blah, and I'm like, I already told your captain, like, you're not supposed to be calling me. Like, don't call me. Like,
Yeah.
if it's important information, your captain will call me. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't, you guys pissed me off last year. Don't call me.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm
then they've
angry.
burned a bridge and then they want to go back across it. And you're like, no, you had an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm
And
still in crash out mode a year later. I hold a grudge for a very long time. I'm not sorry.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
I totally get that. Well, I would love nothing more than to hop on a plane and come help you hunt monsters. I've got a lovely team that I think would help also. But you are just a gem, and I am so thankful that that you've come into my life. But I wouldn't have met you had I not been in the worst imaginable circumstances a parent could be in, right? And you're doing great things.
And so
You
are
are.
you, Brooke.
And
I knew when we had those phone calls you know, and just, I mean, sometimes they were hours long and
mhm.
I knew that fire in you. I was like, if we can find Natalie and Natalie can heal. I'm getting the chills right now, girl. If we can find Natalie and Natalie can heal, and this mom can be like let go, right? Like her
Mhm.
main focus is her daughter, and that's she's not letting it. Like if she can back off of if Natalie heals and starts living, I know that you're gonna be a force. I mean, I felt bad for anybody who got in your way. I was like, listen,
Oh,
she's got what it takes. This is the
I
fire.
was, yeah, it was rough for
I
some
it
people.
was it was the most authentic raw emotion I had heard from mothers in a very long time. And you know what? I got to just say some moms don't even look. They
I
don't even
know.
look and that's the
I
most
can't even
heartbreaking part. So
imagine that.
I welcomed your
Yeah,
fire, girl. I was like, "Yes, yes, just let's hear it cuz not all
well,
moms look for their kids."
let me tell you, and you know this, but she's thriving. She's doing well. Yesterday was her
Yeah.
20th birthday. So she
I
was
love this.
so excited to leave her teen years behind.
Yeah.
And
Those are some rough teen years for sure.
she was like, cheers to the next decade. I mean,
Cute.
but honestly, she's becoming fierce in her own way. I have zero doubt that she is going to become the fiercest advocate imaginable. You know,
Well,
she's a little more
look,
reserved, and she's a
this
little
is
more
you.
reserved
This is
and she
this
won't
is your
do
fire. It's in there. It's she's got it. She's got it.
she won't do public speaking and things like that. But you know, anytime there is a runaway or a missing kid and there's any kind of markers that there's like a vulnerability that could be exploited, she is ready to go kick down a door and go in there and say, not today. And you know, I had people tell me, you know, because she's finishing up her first vacation by herself without us, and somebody said, are you worried about her? And people have asked me all the time, like, am I worried about her? And I say, well, I mean, I guess as much as a normal mom would be, but I said, truthfully, she's one of the safest people you could be around. Because if someone's being creepy or someone's just looking at you
Mhm.
too long, she's like, hey, hey, right here. What are you doing? Like, she's more
She's
intuitive
got their
than,
accurate data now. She's got
yes,
accurate data
yes.
now. She has a lot to teach. And that's ironic because that's the one thing that you do this, because that's the one thing I do when I feel like I come across creepy
Yeah,
individuals that are
yeah,
like they got that little like what the hell is this? Is I don't lay off eye contact. I just lock in,
yes,
and as
yep.
soon as they look away is when it feels like this is very, very important. And it's very important for girls to understand this, girls and women. You need to make eye contact and you need to not look away. They need
Yes.
to know that you're not afraid because ultimately predators are looking for a limping gazelle. And Natalie is not a
Or
limping gazelle
somebody
anymore.
that's distracted, somebody that's just
Yes.
on their phone.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah,
Natalie's
they're
no longer
looking
a
for the
limping
limping
gazelle.
gazelle. Yeah,
She's the lion in the jungle now. I can't wait
she
to see what
is,
she
and
does.
she will stare down somebody. And yeah, like we've been in a store before, and she's like, "Yeah, we need to go. I don't like that guy over there. He's just bothering me." And it can be the most random guy, like he's just living his life. But if
She
she
honors
gets
her
these
no
vibes,
today. Yeah. It's if it's a
yeah,
no, it's a no. And that's it.
it's a
That's all. She
no.
doesn't need to unpack it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I
It's a
always say,
no.
you know, and I will say this, all like pretty much all of the survivor advocate people that I work with, they are the safest people to be around.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
probably a little unsafe. Like they are safe. They will tell somebody, "Hey, you know what? I don't like you. You need to go." So,
Yeah. They're a little boisterous, that's for
I
sure.
mean, yeah, and you talk about the audacity, and I loved that you said audacity. May we
Yeah.
all, as women and girls and daughters and friends, have the
Yeah, and
audacity to
we
say
honored
something.
our nose today. So,
Yes, to say
yep.
something, do something, act on something, be an advocate for something. You don't have to be trained in advocacy work to be an
Yeah.
advocate for those that
Just
are
say the
in a
thing.
bad way.
Yeah.
Say the thing. Who
Uh-huh.
cares if it hurts somebody's feelings? If someone's
Yeah.
not living right, let's make them live right. Like, come
Yeah,
on,
do better. Get off
get
Pornhub.
your life together.
Literally, gosh, have a normal sexual relationship with someone. Get off the
Yes, and
internet.
don't so have a normal sexual relationship with somebody. You don't have to buy sex. Like,
Really. And
I don't
Pornhub,
know.
it's not real. It's not real. No,
It
no girl wants to be
None of
treated
it
like
is
that.
real.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you wonder
Like,
why you
come
have
on.
all these life's problems? It's probably because your Pornhub choices. So,
Yeah. You know, you're living wrong, you know, it's like, "Hey, have you
yeah,
looked at
do
porn
better.
recently?" Yeah. "Are you looking at porn?" I mean, it's funny,
Yeah,
not funny, but I get it. Yeah. So,
I'm telling
Amber,
you,
thank
it's
yeah.
yeah. I'm things are coming together with this. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
what are you hiding on your porn choices? Like,
Yeah.
you got a
Let me go through
problem.
your
It's okay.
give me your phone. Let me look through your phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
I can
Let's talk
diagnose a
about
lot going on with you if you just let me look at your phone for 2 minutes.
it.
So,
Literally, yeah, we're not hiding in the shadows anymore. We're saying the
no,
thing. Yeah.
no. So, but thank you so much for taking
All my
time
love
on your
for you
Saturday
always.
morning. You
Mm.
are amazing. This was so much fun to get to sit and talk to you. This is great. And I'd love to have you on again, because I'd love, Natalie wants to be part of the podcast a little bit more. And I would love to just connect you guys and say
Oh, I would
all the
love to.
things. right?
I would love to see her face, man.
So,
I'm sure she doesn't even. I didn't get a lot of FaceTime with her. I don't know if I
yeah,
really ever did, but
I think you had
man,
talked to her on the phone, but yeah,
I definitely, she occupied a lot of my headspace of like racking my brain, right? Like she matters to me and I definitely want her to know that and that that's not ever going to change. So,
well, I think you'll be seeing and hearing more from her. And again, I'd love to come back up to Utah and I'd love to take her with me. She is not a fan of the state, but that's okay. I get it. I get it.
yeah, me too.
But yeah, just whatever you need, but always feel free to reach out to me. We want to be here, to support anybody we can, even if they're in a different time zone, states away. It's
I believe that.
it's the community. So
You guys are a different family and I will love and support you guys forever too. So,
thank you so much. Well, we love you and thank you so much for being on today. So we'll talk soon.
talk soon. Miss your face.
All right. Bye. So thank you so much to Amber. Thank you, Jesus, for redemption and for just everything that he's able to do. I think the important takeaway is, justice is the Lord's. I'm called anyway, and so are you.